This is Scarlett's mommy, and I'm going to read her the book called Buster and the Beanstalk. You ready for the book? You ready for it? In an old cottage outside of town lived a poor boy named Buster and his mother. Buster always meant to do what his mother told him, but sometimes he forgot. It was hard to milk the cow on a perfect day for fishing, and it was hard to break up the hay when jumping in it was so much more fun. Things for the family went from bad to worse, until one day Buster's mother told him they must sell the cow. "She's starting to give less milk," his mother explained. "We need to sell her while she's still worth something." So the next morning, Buster and the cow started on their way to market. It was a sunny day, just right for chasing butterflies, and Buster was sorry he had a job to do. "Good morning, Buster," said an old man by the side of the road. Buster was surprised. "How do you know my name?" he asked. "Oh, you look like a Buster, smart, dignified." Buster was pleased. "And where are you going?" the man asked. "To market," said Buster. "I have to sell our cow." "What a pity having to go all that way on such a fine day for chasing butterflies," Buster nodded. "What if I saved you the trouble?" said the old man. "Will you trade your cow for these 5 beans?" He held out his hand. Buster just laughed. "I wouldn't trade our cow for some silly beans. I'm smart, remember?" "Ah, but these beans are very special. They're magic beans." Well, Buster thought it over. Magic beans were surely worth a lot, and the butterflies were just waiting to be chased. When Buster got home, his mother was surprised to see him. "Back so soon?" she said. "You must have gotten a good price." Buster held out his hand. "Even better," he said. "I got these 5 magic beans." "Beans? You sold our cow for magic beans?" his mother shouted. "We needed money, not beans." She angrily threw them out the window and sent Buster to his room. The next morning when Buster woke up, he looked outside and saw a beanstalk toward the sky. "I wonder where it goes," said Buster. He went out and started climbing, and by the time he got to the top, the beanstalk had poked through the clouds. Buster looked around. He could see a castle in the distance, and as he got closer, he could see it was a giant's castle. When he arrived there, Buster found that he couldn't reach the doorknob, but he was able to slide under the door. "Hello!" Buster called out. "Anybody at home?" No one answered. Suddenly, though, the room began to shake. Buster nervously hid behind a broom in the corner. The shaking got louder and louder. Then the door burst open, and a giant came in. "Clomp, clomp, clomp," he stomped as he glanced around, quickly sniffing the air. "Fee-fi-fo-fum. As I was coming up the path, I smelled someone who needs a bath." Buster bit his lip. He had been meaning to wash up, but he just hadn't gotten around to it. The giant might have found him if he had searched, but he was distracted by a fluttering noise. He went over to a small bird cage and peered at the goose inside. Buster was surprised. Why would the giant keep an ordinary goose around? Buster wondered. It would barely make a snack for him. He must be an awfully mean giant to keep the poor bird all cooped up in a small cage. The giant lifted the cage to a table. "Lay!" he ordered the goose. The next moment, the goose laid an egg. Buster could see immediately that it was no ordinary egg. This was an egg made of solid gold. The giant admired it greedily for a moment. Then he yawned mightily and laid his head on the table to take a short nap. His snoring soon filled the room like thunder. Buster took a deep breath. "Now's your chance," he thought. "Your chance to be squashed like a bug," his thoughts replied. "Well, I just can't stay here forever, and as long as I'm leaving, I might as well make the most of it." There was no answer to it. So Buster climbed up on the table, opened the cage, and took out the goose. The goose started honking, "Quack, quack, quack, quack," and flapping his wings. Quiet, Buster whispered. I'm trying to rescue you. Luckily, the giant couldn't hear anything over the sound of his own snoring. The goose went right on honking, but Buster held her tightly, ran for his life. Just as he reached the beanstalk, he heard a roar from the castle. Who stole my goose? Buster started climbing down the beanstalk in a hurry. Considering the giant's keen sense of smell, Buster knew he didn't have much of a head start. When he reached the ground, he shouted to his astonished mother, Halt this goose and move back! And then he ran to get his axe. The beanstalk was already shaking a little from the weight of the giant high above. As fast as he could, Buster swung the axe. Chop, chop, chop. With the last cut, Buster jumped back. The whole beanstalk came crashing down, and the giant with it. When the dust was cleared, there was a huge pit in the ground. Well, said Buster, dusting off his hands, I guess I wasn't the one squashed like a bug after all. With golden eggs to sell, Buster and his mother were able to build a big new house and start living in style. Best of all, there was plenty of time for Buster to chase all the butterflies he could ever find. Did you like that book? That was good. And this was a story from Arthur's Really Helpful Bedtime Stories by Mark Brown. And there's several stories in this book. And these are all the stories that come with the book. I hope you enjoyed this lovely story. And I know Scarlett did. Did you enjoy the stories in the book? Yeah, she's very tired, so she's ready for bed. Have a wonderful, blessed day and evening. And I hope you can get to hear my book and enjoy it. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.